Tennis tensions have reached a boiling point at this year's US Open, turning what should be graceful competition into a battlefield of heated exchanges and explosive confrontations. The drama at Flushing Meadows seems never-ending this season. Each passing day brings fresh episodes of players clashing, not over points won or lost, but over matters of respect, sportsmanship, and court etiquette. But here's where it gets controversial. Are these incidents genuine expressions of competitive passion, or signs that professional tennis is losing its traditional civility? The most recent flashpoint erupted when Spain's Jaume Munar secured his spot in the fourth round after defeating Belgium's Zizou Bergs in straight sets. Rather than celebrating his advancement, Munar immediately confronted his opponent at the net, questioning whether Bergs had been deliberately vocalizing during his shots. The Belgian firmly denied any intentional disruption, dismissing Munar's concerns as unnecessary trash talk. The Spanish player didn't back down, bringing up an earlier moment when Bergs had angrily launched a ball into the spectator area during the third set, an action that cost him both a point penalty and ultimately the game. Post-match interviews revealed the depth of the disagreement. Bergs maintained his grunting was completely natural and unintentional, while Munar acknowledged hearing this explanation but remained convinced his opponent had crossed behavioral boundaries during their encounter. And this is the part most people miss. Both players walked away feeling justified in their positions, highlighting how subjective these sportsmanship issues really are. Just one day earlier, another explosive situation unfolded in the doubles competition. American teammates Peyton Stearns and McCartney Kessler had just defeated the Romanian-Russian pairing of Sorana Cirstea and Anna Kalinskaya, when post-match pleasantries quickly deteriorated. The traditional net-side handshakes transformed into a private confrontation between Kalinskaya and Stearns beneath the chair umpire's position. Television microphones captured Kalinskaya's pointed criticism. "I just expected some respect. I didn't see you saying sorry one time." The heated discussion eventually concluded with a diplomatic fist bump, but the incident prompted Stearns to take to social media for damage control. Her explanation on X revealed that she had indeed attempted to apologize after several of her forehand shots came dangerously close to striking Kalinskaya. But the Russian player simply hadn't noticed these gestures. "Never hit her, but I put my hand up and she wasn't looking," Stearns clarified, emphasizing that both players had resolved their differences by the end of their conversation. But here's where tennis etiquette becomes genuinely murky. The ongoing controversy surrounding respect and apologies took center stage in perhaps the tournament's most talked about confrontation between Taylor Townsend and Yelena Ostapenko. Their Wednesday encounter became a masterclass in how quickly sportsmanship disputes can spiral into personal attacks and public relations nightmares. The Latvian player unleashed a verbal assault on Townsend following their match, publicly branding the American as disrespectful and claiming she possessed no class or no education simply because Townsend hadn't apologized for a fortunate net cord shot. These harsh accusations drew swift condemnation from tennis royalty, including two-time U.S. Open champion Naomi Osaka, who expressed her disapproval of Ostapenko's inflammatory language. Recognizing the severity of her words, Ostapenko issued a public apology through social media channels on Saturday, but the damage to her reputation had already been done. Townsend, meanwhile, continued her impressive tournament run with an upset victory over Mira Andreeva in the third round and a successful doubles match on Saturday. When asked about Ostapenko's belated apology, Townsend demonstrated remarkable grace under pressure, stating she hadn't seen the social media post, but appreciated the gesture nonetheless, hoping it would serve as a valuable learning lesson for her former opponent. Townsend's analysis of the incident revealed deeper psychological insights into competitive tennis. She expected for me to react a certain type of way, and I didn't, and it infuriated her, which led her to say things that are hurtful, that are belligerent, that are offensive, not only to me, but to the sport and to a whole culture of people that I try to do my best to represent the best that I can. Her mature response highlighted how emotional volatility can lead to regrettable public statements when players don't get the reactions they anticipate. The net cord controversy touches on one of tennis's most enduring sportsmanship debates. Should players apologize for lucky shots that change match momentum? This seemingly simple question has divided the tennis community for decades, with traditionalists arguing that courtesy demands acknowledgement of good fortune, while others contend that luck is simply part of the game. Another traditional tennis practice came under fire when Greece's Stefanos Tsitsipas exploded over Daniel Altmaier's tactical decisions during their grueling 5-set second-round battle. The Germans' use of underarm serves, a perfectly legal but often controversial strategy, pushed the Greek star beyond his breaking point. After suffering defeat, Tsitsipas delivered a thinly veiled threat during their customary handshake. "Next time, don't wonder why I hit you, if you serve underarm." Altmaier simply brushed off the comments and proceeded to acknowledge the match officials, demonstrating the contrasting temperaments on display. The underarm serve debate represents another fascinating fault line in modern tennis. While completely within the rules, many players and fans view it as unsporting or disrespectful, particularly in high-stakes situations. Should tactical innovation be celebrated or condemned when it challenges traditional expectations? Perhaps the tournament's most spectacular meltdown belonged to former world number 1 Daniil Medvedev. The Russian's fury reached its peak when a photographer inadvertently stepped onto the court surface mid-point, triggering an extended verbal assault on the chair umpire. His rage didn't subside with the match's conclusion. Medvedev repeatedly smashed his racket against his courtside bench in full view of stunned spectators. The photographer incident raises serious questions about tournament organization and player protection. Should external distractions excuse violent outbursts, or do professional athletes have an obligation to maintain composure regardless of circumstances? So what's driving this unprecedented wave of hostility at Flushing Meadows? The players themselves have developed compelling theories that go beyond simple competitive pressure. Jessica Pegula, who advanced to the round of 16, pointed directly to New York City's unique atmosphere as a contributing factor. New York City tends to bring out just a lot of drama, I guess, she observed after her Friday victory. I feel like the crowds, they're pretty crazy. They kind of get everyone riled up. The city's reputation for intense, vocal audiences creates an environment unlike any other tennis venue, where the world's largest tennis stadium becomes an echo chamber of amplified emotions. The intimate smaller courts present no refuge from the chaos. During Medvedev's explosive confrontation, spectators responded with whistles, boos, and constant disruption whenever his opponent attempted to serve, creating a feedback loop of negativity that only intensified the already volatile situation. Coco Gauff, the defending 2023 champion, expanded on Pegula's observations while offering a more nuanced perspective. She acknowledged that while New York crowds are undeniably passionate tennis fans, many attendees arrive with expectations shaped by the city's other sporting venues, where rowdy behavior and vocal participation are not just accepted but encouraged. This cultural collision between tennis's traditional decorum and New York's sports entertainment culture creates a perfect storm for emotional eruptions. Both American stars identified another crucial factor: tournament timing. The U.S. Open represents the final Grand Slam opportunity of the calendar year, creating enormous psychological pressure for players whose championship dreams hang in the balance. Everyone is tense. It's the last slam of the season. Your last chance to go deep at a slam for a while, Pegula explained. I think people maybe just get stressed out. And you're out there competing and fighting and trying to win. I think it just gets emotional. Adrenaline starts flowing. People get into it. The physical and mental exhaustion accumulated over months of grueling competition cannot be understated. By late August, players have endured an entire season of international travel, intense training, and high-pressure matches. Their bodies and minds are operating at their limits, making emotional regulation significantly more challenging. Goff offered a contrasting viewpoint that challenges the narrative of the U.S. Open as uniquely volatile. She argued that similar confrontations occur frequently throughout the tennis calendar, but receive disproportionate attention at Grand Slam events due to increased media coverage and social media amplification. I think for us players, it's just another week on tour, she noted. But these things happen, I would say, more frequently than maybe the ones who just tune into the Grand Slams think. This perspective raises fascinating questions about perception versus reality in professional sports. Are we witnessing genuinely unprecedented behavior? Or has social media simply made us more aware of conflicts that have always existed? Naomi Osaka delivered perhaps the most diplomatic response to the location debate, refusing to blame New York for player behavior while sharing her personal experience. For me, I think New York brings out my best behavior, so I don't know what everyone else is doing, she stated, subtly suggesting that individual character rather than external circumstances determines how players handle pressure. The psychological dynamics at play extend far beyond simple competitive stress. Professional tennis demands the sport's emphasis on individual responsibility. Quiet crowds and respectful behavior increasingly conflicts with today's entertainment-focused sporting culture and social media's demand for dramatic content. Here's the real question that should spark debate. Is tennis becoming too emotionally volatile, or are we finally seeing authentic human reactions to the immense pressures of professional competition? Should players be expected to maintain perfect composure regardless of circumstances, or do we need to accept that passionate outbursts are inevitable when millions of dollars and lifelong dreams hang in the balance? The answer might determine whether tennis preserves its reputation as the gentleman's game or evolves into something entirely different. What do you think? Are these players justified in their emotional reactions? Or has professional tennis lost its way? The conversation about sportsmanship, respect, and competitive integrity has never been more relevant or controversial.